So we have gone through generally, like we have completed the configuration of enterprise structure earlier. Enterprise structure. Then we have completed the configuration of organization structure. Organization structure. And today we will look upon towards the configuration of employee structure, or generally it is also known as personal structure. So what is enterprise structure? What is an enterprise structure? So in an enterprise structure, what do I do? So in an enterprise structure, I first have a client, then I generally have what I have. What is the next step? I have a company, and what is the next step? Then I have a company code, and what is the next step? Then we have a personal area. Personal area. What is the next step that we create? Then we create personal sub area, right?
Yes.
And then what do we do with company code? We assign controlling area to the company code, correct? We assign controlling area to the company code. Along with the above structure, we create something which is called as controlling area. Controlling area, and assign it to company code. Okay. So organization structure. What have we done in the organization structure? So organization structure consists of 5 main objects. Main objects. Which are those objects? Which are those objects? Shivani, which are those objects? Those 5 objects are organization unit. What is organization unit object ID? What is the object ID of organization unit? It's okay, Shivani, if it would be, if it is, I mean, if it somehow is wrong, then that is also fine. Just try yourself out. Like, okay, try to give the answer as much as you can. It's okay if it will be wrong. That's not to worry. What will be the organization unit object ID? Okay, so let's.
Access.
Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry. Okay, what are the other organization structure objects? Okay, one is position. And what are the other ones?
Persons.
Person, correct. And what is the other one?
Chief position.
Position we have already note down, right?
Yeah. Employee.
No. The others are job and another one is what? What is the last one? Last one is the cost center. Okay.
Yes.
Remember, just two classes back we have done the organization structure before attributes. Correct? What is the object ID for organization unit? It's okay. Try to answer the question. It will be a learning for you, right? Before the interview. Okay, object ID is O. What is the object ID of position?
P013.
No, no, object ID. One letter ID. It's S. Okay. And what is the object ID for person? It's P. The object ID for job will be C, and the object ID for cost center will be K. How can we see the object ID? Let's see again. I'm logging into the screen and okay, so I'll use again the transaction code PPOM underscore old because that's how I can maintain the organization unit that I generally have. And so again, let's say this was the configuration that we were doing. Let me go into that one. See, now all of these objects that I've created, these are the organization units. Where can I see the object ID? Here it is the object ID O. Okay, it looks like a zero, but it is not zero. It is actually O. Okay, so let's say I want to see which are the positions which I have created. So I can go into the go to and then I can go into the staff assignment. Now I can see the position. I've created one position over here. I've created several other positions over here. But what it is, S. S, like I mentioned, the object ID for positions is S. Okay. So similarly, when we hire a person onto any position, it generally the object ID is P, and generally the object ID of cost center is K. How do we see that? So again, I can go into the go to account assignment. In account assignment, I can see the cost center that I've created and assigned is K. This object ID K. So automatically, whenever I create any kind of a cost center, it gets the object ID K if it is a cost center. If it is position, it is S. If it is organization, it is unit O. It is O. Similarly, like if I see any another, let's say, if I see any another example. So for an example, I'm taking this example Tata Motors. Okay. Now see, I have couple of positions over here, but then again in this position I've hired few employees. So again they are denoted by the object ID P, person, that is employee. So this is how it generally. These are the reporting. These are the things which are generally there in the organization structure. What else is there in an organization structure that we have seen? We have seen the reporting structure. Reporting structure among other positions. Reporting structure among other positions. Okay, so today we will learn about employee structure or a personal structure. What is an employee structure? See, in an employee structure, we first generally create an employee group, and within that employee group, we create different employee subgroups. So, I mean, I can create one employee group and within that I can create different types of an employee subgroups. So it could be employee subgroup 1, and this can be the employee subgroup 2, and this can be the employee subgroup 2. Now how can I define what is an employee group and what is an employee subgroup? There are different categories I generally can create, right? I can create a category, let's say an active employees, and here I can create, let's say, a retiree employees.
External employees.
Yes, I can also say external employee. I can also create retiree employee. It doesn't has to be external, internal all the point of time. It depends on your company that okay, how do they want things. So similarly, I can do this thing into the few number of ways. Like I can create okay permanent employees as well, contract employees, and then within that I can create retiree employees, and I can do n number of things. But let's say I'm taking, so one way of doing it is like again I'm creating let's say an active employee. So then I'm creating a subgroup within an active employee. Let's say I'm creating a subgroup of let's say salaried employee, and here I'm creating an another subgroup, let's say hourly employee. Correct? And even in the case of retiree, I can do the same thing. Even in the case of retiree, I can do the same thing. Salaried employee, and then an hourly employee. Hourly employee. Can I create only two subgroup of employee? Can I create only two employee subgroups? Can I create more? Can I create more?
Yes.
Yes. Like what? What else can we create here?
Contractual employee.
Contractual employee, correct? Okay, we can create contractual employee. Can we create interns? Can we create, let's say, trainees? On both side of the spectrums, right? So we can create n number of employee groups. We can not n number of, but generally we can create employee groups, 8 or 9 employee groups into the system, or like maybe it could be 30, 40 employee groups in the system. We have this much of bandwidth, and then we can create maybe let's say 100, 200 of the different subgroups if we want, if we are not making too much of complications in the system. So in this example, let's understand what we are creating. Okay, so we are creating employee groups. Which are the employee groups that we want to create? We are creating these 3 employee groups, let's say. Uh, Permanent employee, and let's say we want to create a contract employee, and let's say we want to create a trainee. So we want to create a 3 employee groups. Okay, so let me just highlight this one. So these are the 3 employee groups that we will create. And how many employee subgroups that we will create? So we'll take an employee group. Let's say we will take permanent employee first. We'll take permanent employee first. And then what we will do, we will create employee subgroups within that. Employee subgroups. So within permanent, let's say I'm creating hourly employee, and then I'm creating a salaried employee. So these are nothing but the employee groups. Oh, sorry, employee subgroups. So let me highlight it as green, and let me highlight this one as, let's say, a little light yellow. So these are the Like within an employee group, permanent employee, that is, I'm saying, okay, this is an employee group. So within an employee group, permanent employee, I'm creating two employee subgroup, which is an hourly and a salaried. Have you got this point? Have you
Yes, sir.
any doubt in this?
No.
Okay. Now another we are taking another part of I mean we are taking another employee group, and we will again create the same for this one. So in this case, it will be known as, let's say, permanent hourly employee. Can we say that? Can we name that? Okay, it's an hourly employee but a permanent employee. And in this case, it will be called as permanent salaried employee. Correct? Can we do that? What do we call this one? What do we call this one?
Contractual hourly employee.
Correct. Contract hourly employee. And what do we call this one?
Contractual salaried employee.
Contract. See, you can do it in your way as well. Like if you want, you can create a, let's say, external employee, internal employee, whichever the way you feel comfortable. You can also do it as per your own convenience. But like it doesn't has to be that if I am doing it in this way, then you also have to do it in the same way. You can use your own method to do that. And let's say I'm talking about the trainee employee. But in trainee, my company is having the policy that okay, trainee employee will only be the hourly employee. They will not be the salaried employee. So I don't want to create a salaried in this case. I want to create only one category for trainee employees. So I'm saying this one is trainee hourly employee. Okay, so this we are looking forward to create this one. So what should we do? How should we create this one? Okay. Now let's say the permanent employee first. Let's go to create the let's first create the employee group, and then we will create the different subgroups. So to create an employee group, to create employee group. Where do we create employee group? Let's see. We'll go the what are the steps for this one? Steps are first I will go into the SPRO, then I'll go into the SAP reference IMG screen. Then I'll go into the enterprise structure. Then I'll go into the again definitions, the same steps that we have performed last point of time. Then we will go to the human resource management. Then we will go to the employee groups. So let's go on this one. For yesterday I've explained something, otherwise we can also use SM30, and in SM30 we can go to the table which is T501, whichever the way you feel comfortable. So let's follow the menu path. So let me first come down to the home screen. I'll first use SPRO. I'll go into the customization screen. Once I'm in the customization screen, I will go into the enterprise structure here. And then in enterprise structure, I'll go into the definition. And then in the definition, I will go into the human resource management. And in human resource management, I can see this thing right below the personal sub area. It is telling me to create an employee groups. Okay. If I want to see the technical name, what is the technical name of this field, then what should I do? Shivani, I want to see the technical name of employee groups, then how can I see that one? So to see the technical name, I'll right click it and then I will go into the display technical info, correct? And here I will go into the main objects. So here I can see T501 and I can use the transaction code, that is SM30, and then I can directly go onto this table. Okay, so this is one way. If I don't want to go directly onto this table, I can simply execute it from here. And now I am in the employee group. Now I have to see that, okay, which are the nomenclatures which are available to use. Okay, so I always have to see all the point of time that, okay, which are the naming, which are the IDs which are available. So can we see, like, okay, D, E, F, G is available. So we have E, F, G is available. Okay, and at the same time, yeah, we can use E, F, G. So let's say we'll name it as E. Employee group will be permanent employee group will be named as E. Contract employee group will be named as F, and trainee employee group will be named as G. So we are noting this down over here. Okay. So now let's create that. To create our entries, we'll go on to the new entries. We'll create E. What I'm saying, it's a permanent employee. What what else? F. I'm saying it's a contract employee. And what else? G. I'm saying it's a trainee employee. Trainee employee. So I can hit enter and I can save these fields. So this is saved. I will go back. I will go back again. Now I will do what I will do. I will create the employee structures. So I've created the employee groups. Let's create employee subgroups. Let's create employee subgroups. So I'll name it over here as employee subgroup. Rest of the menu path is same. Here employee groups, here employee subgroups. Okay. So let's see which are the naming and everything that is available. So we can simply go into the define employee subgroups. Here we'll click onto the define employee subgroups. So let's say 1A and 1B is taken. So subgroup is generally of 2 digit. So what we can do, we can say here that, okay, what we are taking E, F, G. So let's give the nomenclature as per that only. Let's see first that, okay, if someone has taken E or not. So let me delete the, okay, E1. Now let's go on to the new entry and let's create. So what I'm creating, I'm naming this one as E1. Permanent hourly employee will be named as, let's say, E1, and permanent salaried employee will be named as, let's say, E2. Here I'm doing the same thing as well. F1 will be contract hourly employee, and here I'm naming F2 will be the contract salaried employee, and here I will name G1. Okay, so let's see, let's create this one. So E1 is what? Permanent employee, that is permanent employee but hourly employee. So I'm saying permanent hourly employee. So I cannot use it into a long format, so I'm just keeping it short, permanent. What is E2? Permanent salaried employee. Permanent salaried employee. I cannot. What else? F1. Okay. F1 is what? Contract.
Contract hourly
So
employee.
C, hourly employee. See again, SAP SAP will only be a complex system until and unless you're not practicing it. If you're practicing it regularly, constantly, it will become easier with you, and then you would be able to score more and more hires whenever you'll be looking for the opportunity. If you think so that okay, the steps are very normal and it's easy to remember, then it may be very difficult for you at the time of while going for an interview, because it generally happens. That's how generally the SAP is designed. More you practice, more better you become. So okay, so these are the these are the 5 different employee subgroups that I've configured. Let me save this one. Now see, I've just only created it. Never ever I have defined that okay, I'm assigning those things. Have I? I have not assigned it, right? So I've just only created those things. What is the next step now? Assign assign employee subgroups, assign employee subgroups to employee groups. What I'm doing now, I'm now justifying that okay, E1 and E2 belongs to E, F1 and F2 belongs to F, G1 belongs to G only. Assign employee subgroups to employee groups. How do we do that? We'll follow the same method. Again, okay, let's close this down. This time we will go into the assignment. So let me first write down the menu path for this one. Steps, SPRO, IMG reference screen, enterprise structure, assignment, and human resource assignment. Assign employee subgroup to employee groups. Assign employee subgroups to employee groups. Okay, so these are the steps. So let's follow that. So I'll go into the assignment. I'm already in assignment, and in assignment I can go into the human resource management. In human resource management I can click onto this field, employee subgroups to employee groups. Now here I have to create the new entries. So first of all I have to select for which employee group. We are talking about E. Okay, so let's first go with E. And what is the first one that I need to create over here? E.
Permanent.
So I have to select this one, permanent. The first one is E1 that I need to assign. So E1. Now here you have to define for which country as well. Okay, that okay, this will be the groupings, but for which country? So you can assign multiple countries, but as of now, we are doing the configuration for India. So let's say we are assigning only for India 40 here, this one. You have to right click it and then you have to save it. So you have to enter employee group first, you have to enter employee subgroup first, and then you have to click on to the country grouping that it should be available for, and then you have to save those fields. So this is saved. Let me go back. Now I have to repeat the same thing. So again E. Now what? What should I enter? E2, right?
Okay. Yes.
E1 is done. Now E2. And which country? 40. India. Check box this one and save. Okay, save. Now which one? F.
F1.
So new entries. Grouping F.
F1.
F1. So see, I've already created it. That's why I can be able to see things over here. If I've not created it, I would have not gotten the entries. For which country again? India. So this needs to be very, very carefully done, that we have to always check that okay, India is enabled or not. Otherwise, it will throw us an error. Save. Done. Similarly, F again, and at this point of time F2, and I will again go back. Okay, sorry, I'll select India over here. Save. And similarly, employee groups G,
G1.
and we just only need to create one, right? So G1, and here save. Okay, so I'm going all the way back, and I'm going back, going again into it. Just wanted to see that okay, the entries are there or not. Now we have created it. So I'll first go into the position, and then I will select F only. So let's see. So see with F, sorry, let's go into the position again, and let's go with E, and let's first check with E. Okay. So see with E, I've created E with linked. I have linked E with E1, E with E2, then I've linked F with F1, F with F2, then I've linked F with G1. So this you need to be sure that okay, these entries are there in this table, country group assignment. Okay, so that's how we generally create the employee group and employee subgroups in system, and then that's how we generally assign employee subgroups to employee groups. Okay, and this cumulatively, this is known as the employee structure. Employee structure. So if anyone asks you that okay, tell me what is a personal structure, what is an employee structure, so you can say that we can create not n number of, but let's say we can create group of, we can create different employee groups, and within those employee groups we can create different subgroups for a particular country specific location. If we want, we can also allocate it for a different countries, multiple countries at the same time. If we want, we can also allocate it for a single country. Okay. Okay, so this is for today's session, and practice this one. See how can we generally create the employee group and subgroups, and how can we assign it. And if you get any doubt, let me know.
Sure.